Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Grace Ma. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Foodpanda delivery workers go on strike to protest against a pay cut. 20 people are convicted of rioting in Sheung Wan 2 years ago. And health experts sound off on vaccine passports to boost the inoculation rate. Foodpanda delivery workers launched a strike this evening, saying their pay has been cut. They warned that the company could lose orders during festivals. Shameful was how a group of Foodpanda workers branded the delivery giant for drastically slashing their wage. They said their pay per delivery was slashed from $70 to $40. Protesting outside Panda Mart in Kuntong, they demanded a minimum wage.
It should be 50 because it includes our motorcycle maintenance, including petrol, gasoline, and everything maintenance. So I think 50 plus is a must for us to survive in this company. If no, we cannot work anymore.
They said those who deliver food by bicycle or on foot should get at least $35 per order. The workers are also dissatisfied with what they call unreasonable termination of contracts. This rider, who joined the firm in 2018, was sacked 6 months ago. He founded a group which drew almost 1,300 members online, and they issued an ultimatum to Foodpanda's chief executive.
If you didn't listen to us, this kind of a strike you can see in every week. Next is coming Christmas, and also there is a New Year's. We will do same things if you didn't listen to us. You have two ways: just kick us out, all of us who are doing strike, or listen to us and come to table talk and give us a paper surety, that minimum order fee and our safety.
The strikers gave the company until tomorrow to respond. Former Kowloon City District Councillor Tony Kwok, who was disqualified, has left Hong Kong. The Democratic Party member said on Facebook that he has not gone into exile and will return later. He cited personal reasons for the decision, but did not disclose his whereabouts. Kwok pledged allegiance to the SAR government and the Basic Law in September, but his oath was declared invalid and he was unseated. He was asked to repay $110,000, which he spent on his office. 20 people have been found guilty of rioting in Sheung Wan 2 years ago. They will be sentenced in 3 weeks' time. Isaac Lee reports.
A long line of people waited outside West Kowloon Magistracy this morning to hear the fate of 24 defendants accused of rioting near Tuvalu Road West in July 2019. District Judge Johnny Chan said the protesters had ignored police warnings and marched towards Sai Wang. They set up roadblocks, threw objects, and shouted anti-government slogans. Chan defined their behavior after 6 p.m. that day as a riot. He convicted 20 of the defendants, 16 of whom stood on the front line and confronted police. The judge said their clothes and equipment served as circumstantial evidence. 4 others were also deemed to be protesters because they moved to the front line. Chan rejected the defense arguments that the defendants were bystanders, saying people wouldn't normally stay in a dangerous place. He concluded that they were rioters. One defendant, Mok Chuk Fai, was also convicted of assaulting police officers, and another, Cui Hing Quan, was found guilty of possessing radio communication devices without a license. 3 others, Chern Ka Chong, Lawman Wing, and Polly Choi, were acquitted of rioting. The judge said although their attire was similar to the rioters, it was possible that they had stumbled onto the scene and didn't know it was an illegal assembly. The 20 who were convicted and Andy Kent, who pleaded guilty earlier, were remanded in custody until December the 4th, when they will be sentenced. Isaac Lee, HKIBC.
The Economist magazine says Hong Kong has refused to renew the work visa of its China correspondent. There was no explanation for the decision against Wang Su-lin, who is not in the city at present. She took to Twitter to say she's sad at not being able to continue reporting from Hong Kong. The magazine issued a statement urging the SAR to maintain access for the foreign press. Health Chief Sophia Chen says additional measures for cargo aircrew will help ward off imported COVID cases. Her assurance came as microbiologist Yun Kwok said a vaccine passport will encourage more people to get jabs. Taking to the airwaves, University of Hong Kong microbiologist Yun Kwok expressed concern over the city's vaccination rates. Only 69% of the population have received at least one dose. And that may not be enough to protect the city when borders reopen.
Once we open up, there must be a fifth wave coming. In order that we can decrease the damage to Hong Kong once we open up, we must have a way to do it. We must prepare for it. And that, I believe that vaccine passports, a vaccine pass, is the most important measure to improve the rate of vaccination.
Health Secretary Sophia Chen added her support for vaccine passports to have access to certain venues.
If we are to put in place this requirement, I think the most important thing is for the operators of these premises to be cooperative, and also for people who have not been vaccinated for no reason to get vaccinated.
Chen suggested that patrons must be vaccinated to enter gyms and cinemas. She added that new rules for cargo flight crews will strengthen protection against COVID.
After they come to Hong Kong, there will be a daily test. Some are PCR tests and some are quick tests, for at least 14 days. Third is that their movements will be restricted.
The health minister said mainland authorities must visit Hong Kong to see the situation here before setting a timetable to reopen the frontier. 3 residential blocks in Tai Kwok Tsui have been locked down. Blocks 1 to 3 of Hampton Place were sealed off at 7:30 p.m. Residents must get tested for COVID before 1 a.m. The order came after a cargo aircraft assistant living there tested positive with a mutated strain yesterday. Hong Kong is now in its 36th day without a locally transmitted COVID infection, but there were 2 imported cases today. 2 women who arrived on flight EK384 from the United Arab Emirates were screened at the airport. One of them started her journey in Mauritius and the other in Pakistan. A mutant strain was detected in 1 woman. For the first time in 13 years, the Hong Kong Pride Parade was staged in the form of a bazaar, but the atmosphere was upbeat. Long queues formed outside the Rainbow Market, which was set up in a mall in Kwun Tong. Some people waited up to 4 hours before they could get in. Stalls offered accessories, clothes, and artwork. Some staff and stall owners wore rainbow-colored masks symbolizing LGBT equality. The annual Pride Parade was banned last year due to the pandemic. President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden will hold a video summit on Tuesday morning. Their talks come after both leaders cemented their political standing at home. Sarah Wong reports.
The wait is over for the video summit between President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden. The Foreign Ministry confirmed that their discussions will take place on Tuesday morning, Hong Kong time. Spokeswoman Hua Chunying said they would exchange views on Sino-U.S. relations and bilateral issues.
I wouldn't set the expectation, I should say, that this is intended to have, major deliverables or outcomes. He feels that the history of their relationship, having spent time with him, allows him to be quite candid, as he has been in the past, and he will continue to be as we look ahead to next week.
Xi and Biden could lock horns over trade and geopolitics while striving for common ground on climate and nuclear proliferation. Xi has entered the talks after consolidating power, with Communist Party resolution hailing him as a core leader. Biden has also strengthened his position at home, earning more political capital after his $1 trillion infrastructure bill passed Congress. The White House branded the mammoth package as part of Biden's strategy to rival China for generations to come. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
The outgoing president of Honduras says he hopes to deepen diplomatic ties with Taiwan after he leaves office. Juan Orlando Hernandez made the comments during a surprise 3-day visit to the island. Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen said she looked forward to the Central American country and Taiwan extending mutual help on the international stage. But her hopes may be dashed as opposition politician Xiomara Castro, the favorite in forthcoming polls in Honduras, has vowed to recognize Beijing if she becomes president. Negotiations at the Glasgow Climate Summit have run into overtime as countries wrestle over details in the final agreement. The Pacific island nation of Tuvalu made a desperate plea for major action, saying it is literally sinking.
It's a matter of life and survival for many of us. And we implore that Glasgow must be the defining moment. We must not fail.
Delegates are racing to reach a deal after many countries opposed the second draft over ending the use of fossil fuels and the financial obligations of wealthy countries. Oil-rich Saudi Arabia has denied sabotaging the draft, with Russia calling for concessions to make headway. Summit President Alok Sharma hopes that all 197 parties will adopt an official agreement tomorrow. There were tears of joy for fans of Britney Spears after she was freed from a conservatorship. A Los Angeles judge ended the arrangement, which enabled the U.S. pop icon's father to control her life for 14 years.
I broke down. It's just, I know this has been for so long, just for me, it's so much turmoil, and just knowing that she's been through this for almost 14 years.
I want Britney to live the life of her dreams, whatever that means, whether that means, I believe that she, she's a performer at heart, so, but, on her own terms. So, but whether that means performing or not performing ever, we'll support her.
Britney Spears took to social media to thank her fans, calling it the best day ever. The 39-year-old singer went to court to end the conservatorship that was set up in 2008 when she battled mental health issues. On to the weather now. Fine and dry tomorrow with the temperature between 20 and 26 degrees. Sunny periods on Monday and Tuesday. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Saturday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Grace Ma. Thanks for watching. Good night.